KANO State Public Complaint and Anti-Corruption Commission, PCACC, on Friday said it had secured court order to prosecute 7 dealers in connection with skyrocketed prices of essential commodities such as flour, resultant of increment in prices of bread in the state. The chairman of the anti-graft agency, Barrister Muyi Rimingado, disclosed this during the meeting with leadership of essential commodities markets, popularly known as Singa Market, and master bakers in the state. Barrister Rimingado said the dealers were behind the skyrocketing of prices of artificial price hike of essential commodities such as which has had negative effect and compound the untold hardship faced by the citizens. In his words, and I quote, "We have identified 7 of the dealers behind the hike of the prices of flour and noodles in the state and have gotten a court order to prosecute them. We have placed one of the biggest dealer who is at large wanted. The unpatriotic merchants skyrocketed the prices of foodstuff and compound the hardship faced by the citizens at this trying time when citizens embarked on nationwide protests against hardship in the country." You see, while we're fighting against hardship, it looks like some of us are, bringing up the hardship. They took advantage of the situation to sell the commodities at exorbitant prices. Now, the Governor Abba Yusuf has formally convened an interactive meeting with the Singa Marketers Association in an effort to get to the root of what has happened, and as well as met with the Bakers Association, and they all agreed that the increased price is on the increase in the price of flour, and it is artificially done by some unpatriotic marketers. So he had to cut off the middlemen, that's the retailers of this flour, and make sure that these bread sellers and these people would just, communicate directly with the manufacturers or wholesalers and take off the retailers from the chain, because some of them have been said to artificially hike the price of flour, which has affected the price of bread and other commodities.
It's a good one, but we are chasing the shakes, little shakes, while ignoring the mother end. The mother end of this price hike that relates to flour and the bakery, and not essentially foodstuffs in the markets, is that our production is failing. And there is production, there is distribution. And most of the producers are not empowered to produce. So while they are taking a step to deal with those who are artificially manipulating the prices of basic, important, something as basic as bread. Even in the religious text, the Bible says, God is written, "Give us this day our daily bread."
So we're supposed to have daily bread.
But in Nigeria today, daily bread is difficult to get. You can't afford it. Yes, daily
even
bread.
If God gives you your daily bread, you still can't afford it.
It has been written. We are very religious people. And it has been written in the Bible, and a prayer is made. It said, "Give us this day our daily bread." But the daily bread is hard and difficult for an average Nigerian to see. So we are not even following what the scriptures has told us. Why are we not getting the daily bread? It's not rocket science. Our production is failing. The farmers are not empowered to produce enough flour, wheat, and all the essential raw materials necessary for the production of bread. The bread is not produced with stone or sand. Now you're going after the bakers and the bakeries and the producers that are hiking the price. But look at the fundamental question. What is the production capacity of Nigeria in terms of flour? I learned the other day in the news, from listening to the news, that Ukraine, a country that is at war, was proposing, I don't know whether they follow through, to donate wheat or flour to Nigeria that's not at war. A country at war wants to donate flour to us.
When we had that Ukraine war, it was when it actually started at that time, we had a lot of issues. Remember then we had a serious hike in price of bread that was when the price of bread just changed, and I was, in fact, one of those Nigerians who was seriously affected because I used to love bread, you know. So I had to do my research, and we realized that it was because of the war. That's why, because we had to bring in flour from that country. And then we look down here, we have wheat. We have some of these things that we could use to produce flour. And when you check, you find out that it's not like we're not producing here, but it's the issue of us not producing enough to meet the demand here in the country, so we would have to import. And expanding our production would not be something that is impossible.
What's the population of Ukraine compared to Nigeria? Nigeria is over 200 million people. And we are, you know, just to look at it, you know, a rational mind to think of a country at war. They are fighting war and their cities are being decimated and destroyed. And they are offering to donate flour to a country that is not at war. That's to tell you that there's a systemic failure. We have the capacity to produce enough flour to even export to other West African countries and ECOWAS. And to the rest of Africa. At least let's start from our continent. We have the capacity to produce enough to feed ourselves and then send to other African countries and earn revenue, foreign exchange from it.
But you know, the insecurity in Nigeria really hasn't helped matters with farming.
That's part of agriculture. That's part of the reason. That's why I said we are chasing after the little chicks while ignoring the mother hen. The little chicks are some of those manufacturers. I'm not excusing their greedy actions that are hiking price and artificially manipulating the system. But what about the mother hen that is laying the eggs for the small chicks to come out? You are not dealing with the mother hen. She will continue to produce more eggs and have more little chicks. And then you are going after the little chicks. You are not dealing with the problem. You are not looking at the roots of the problem. You're not rooting out the problem.
Well, you know, when we talk about handling issues, you know, from our previous story, when we're talking about some of the things going wrong, you know, when you see something going wrong, fix it. And the mindset that a lot of Nigerians have to let it get bad. Sometimes when we analyze some of the problems we are facing as a country, you find out that when you trace it down, you're tracing it down to one problem. So you realize that the problem of us not producing enough in Nigeria regarding our consumables now, you take it back to agriculture and you link it back to insecurity and you link it back to a lot of things, and we're like, only one problem has linked to a chain of problems that is affecting a whole lot of sectors in the country. But that's on one side. Let's look at the insecurity we talked about just now being one of the issues of agriculture. Before we had this huge case of insecurity in Nigeria, I know that back then we've been told that food was available and all of these things. But you see, importation in Nigeria, it has been on for a long time. We didn't just start importing the things that we produce here. Imagine us importing red oil.
You see, all you've said, they are all under one umbrella word, and that is leadership.
So even before we started depending, we started having these cases of insecurity. What I'm trying to say is, we have had that issue of not producing enough in Nigeria. So insecurity is not even the only problem that we have regarding agriculture and us consuming or producing what we eat here.
There's no country in the world that does not import, but our problem is that we have become a brand.
Dependent on it.
We have become a brand for borrowing and importation. Sometimes I sit down and I reflect how our leaders think when they go and borrow from other countries. We should be giving out to other countries. Of course, we're even giving out to other countries, actually.
We're giving out a lot.
We're giving out to other countries.
We're giving out a lot to our detriment sometimes.
Yes, but we have become a borrowing nation. We borrow for everything. We want to pay salaries. We're thinking about taking loans. And when they take the loans, they don't use it for anything useful. Now, everything falls under leadership. The agricultural sector, the security issues, the cost of flour in the market, the price of bread, everything falls under leadership. As a leadership expert said, everything rises and falls on leadership. If you have the right leadership in the agricultural sector, they will fix something. Because they see something is wrong, you fix it. If you have the right leadership in the security sector, the leadership all around, leadership in our houses, leadership in our schools, leadership in our markets, leadership on the streets. So when we talk about leaders, people think it's just position and office. They look at those that are governors or presidents or ministers or commissioners or whoever. No, you are a leader. You are the first leader to yourself. The man that is picking up arms to go and attack farmers, if he realizes that he is a leader, he will not do that. He will tell himself, no, I can't do that. These people are feeding the nation. Why should I go and kidnap a farmer? These are lifesavers. It
has gone beyond, a lot of things. But just like you have said, that we all have roles to play.
Exactly.
It brings us back to the topic now, this particular story we're looking at, where these people were arrested. This was not the president who came and, increased the price of bread artificially or flour artificially. This is somebody who sells this product and decides to inflate the price, even knowing that there's hardship on the land. That individual will go to the street to protest against hardship. But that's somebody who is, according to reports, artificially inflating prices. And we have a lot of these kind of people in our society, in our markets, in our society. We have a lot of them where you hear on the news that something has gone up, and because you sell that product, you increase it immediately. Look at when fuel subsidy was removal of fuel subsidy was announced. We had reports that immediately it was announced, the fuel stations that same day, within 24 hours, had already inflated the price of fuel.
It's easy to criticize those in government and those with power. But until you criticize yourself, you are not better than them. You are not different from them. Until you ask yourself questions, the right questions, as an individual and as a citizen, until you take the high road, until you go higher than the average mentality and thinking of self-accumulation and greed, you are not better than those occupying government offices. Because if you occupy that office, you are just an occupant reflecting the kind of person you are, because your personality and your attitude will be showcased to the world. Because the seeds that have been planted in you will grow and they will bear fruits. Fruits of greed and exploitation, fruits of stealing, and fruits of collecting what does not belong to you.
So do you think we should have more of this? Should we really have more of this? More people who are inflating these prices actually being arrested to serve as an example to other people who might want to do the same?
Yes, we should have to serve as deterrent, but can you arrest everyone? We need a national rebate. We need a national transformation. We need a national reconciliation. We need a national redemption. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, your religion, your tribe, your ethnicity, your financial status, whether you are educated or whether you are not, whether you are poor, whether you are rich, until there is a national rebirth, when we begin to see ourselves as our brother's keeper, not our brother's killer. When we begin to see ourselves as loving people that will help each other, that will be there for each other. As we sing in our national anthem, united people, then we are going to grow as a country. You see, when someone who sells in the market inflates his price, or when a lady inflates her price, a market woman inflates her price, it's a reflection of the society that has affected her mind.
Or it's just people trying to make some extra cash for themselves.
What influences that action? The society. So another person will come and tell you that how much are you selling your own? You are doing church woman, or you're doing a religious person? No. Add something on it. You don't want to buy a car. There's something fundamentally wrong. That's why I said we need a national rebirth. And the message of national rebirth will start in our homes, in our families. As we're talking now, when we begin to have more people who will stand up, who will arise and stand up and say, yes, I want to be different. I want to do things differently. You can be honest and still make money. Yes. You can be honest and still be rich. Yes.
A lot of Nigerians do not believe that.
Yes, because of the system.
A lot of Nigerians believe that some of the successful people, in quotes, that they see, they had to do something negative to get it. You hear, I'm saying this because, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I overheard a conversation between two young men on the road, and, they pointed at a very big building, and one of them said, being a good man didn't get this person here. So there's this ideology of the fact that you need to do something negative if you want to be successful in the definition of successful society has. Because
the societal definition of success is faulty, is mutilated, is broken, is scattered, and it is shattering the lives of people. It has wrongly influenced their perception. When they see big houses and big cars, oh, that man is successful. Who told you that that's success? Who told you that that's the definition of success? There's nothing wrong to live a good life. We need to live the good life. But you can't use that to define your success. So when we look at it generally in our society, we can get it right and we can make things right.